Part 3. My parents forced me to give up my college fund to my golden child brother, but after 4 years of hard work and struggle, I finally made it. Then they showed up to my graduation demanding money, and oh boy did I have a surprise for them. Update 3, final update, everyone. I wasn't sure if I would write this, but after everything that's happened, I feel like I owe it to this community to share how things turned out. The past month has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions, legal meetings, and life changes, but things are finally settling into a new normal that I never thought possible. The acquisition deal closed successfully 2 weeks ago, after 3 months of intense negotiations and paperwork. The day we signed the final documents, I couldn't help but think back to that moment 4 years ago when my parents told me my education fund was gone. I wondered if they had any idea that their decision would lead to this moment, their daughter signing a multi-million-dollar deal while they faced foreclosure. I won't share the exact number to maintain my privacy, but let's just say I never have to worry about money again. More importantly, I've proven to myself that I didn't need their support to succeed. My grandmother, who has been my guardian angel through all of this, helped me set up a charitable foundation that will help other students who have had their education funds stolen or misused by family members. We're focusing specifically on helping students who have been financially abandoned by their families but don't qualify for certain types of aid because their parents still claim them as dependents. The foundation will provide not just financial support, but also legal guidance and mental health resources. It feels incredibly healing to turn this negative experience into something positive that will help others avoid the struggles I faced. As for my parents and James, the cease and desist letter from my lawyer might as well have been written in invisible ink for all the attention they paid to it. They continued their harassment campaign, calling my office, showing up at my apartment, and even trying to contact my clients through LinkedIn. The final straw was when they showed up at my boyfriend's workplace to try to convince him to talk some sense into me. That's when I finally followed through with the restraining order. The hearing was last week, and I have to admit, it was harder than I expected. Seeing my parents in court, looking older and more desperate than I remembered, almost made me waver. But then they started speaking, spinning tales about what wonderful parents they'd been and how I was mentally unstable and being manipulated by my grandmother. They even tried to claim that my success was only because of their excellent parenting and the opportunities they gave me. The judge, thankfully, saw right through their act. After reviewing the documentation of their harassment, the security footage from my office, the history of their financial abuse, and the threatening messages they'd sent, she granted the restraining order immediately. The order covers both my home and office addresses, and includes digital communication. The look on my mother's face when the judge called their behavior a disturbing pattern of exploitation and emotional abuse will stay with me forever. The real karma? All those refinanced loans finally caught up with them. After missing multiple payments, the bank started foreclosure proceedings. Of course, they tried to blame this on me too, saying if I had just helped the family they wouldn't have lost their home. They conveniently forgot that they were the ones who chose to keep enabling James's reckless behavior. But everyone knows the truth now. James has been floating between minimum wage jobs since his crypto scheme failed, and is now living in my parents' basement while they've moved in with my uncle. My aunt told me he still spends most of his time online looking for get-rich-quick schemes, convinced that his next big break is just around the corner. I hear they're still telling anyone who will listen about their ungrateful daughter who abandoned them, but fewer and fewer people are buying their story. My grandmother suggested they all get therapy to work on their issues, but they refused, saying they're not the ones with the problem. My father actually laughed and said therapy was for weak people who can't handle real life, ironic coming from someone who can't handle his daughter's success without trying to claim it as his own. My mother still insists that they were just trying to help James reach his potential and that I'm punishing them for being good parents. The delusion runs deep in our family. I actually tried to extend an olive branch at one point, offering to pay for family therapy sessions. My grandmother thought it might help us all heal, and my therapist agreed it could be worth trying if they were willing to acknowledge their behavior. But they refused, saying they would only attend if I first showed good faith by giving them money to save their house. When I declined, they sent flying monkeys, distant relatives and family friends, to lecture me about family loyalty. One of my aunts even suggested I was being possessed by greed and needed an exorcism. I wish I was joking about that last part. I've moved to a new house in a gated community with state-of-the-art security systems. It's strange sometimes, walking through this beautiful home that I bought with my own money, remembering how just a few years ago I was living off ramen noodles in a studio apartment with questionable heating. My boyfriend, who stuck by me through everything and never once suggested I give in to my family's demands, says I sometimes still act like I'm expecting someone to take it all away. I'm working on that in therapy. Speaking of therapy, it's been incredibly helpful in processing everything that's happened. My therapist has helped me understand that my parents' behavior wasn't just favoritism, it was financial and emotional abuse. She's helping me work through the guilt and anxiety that still crops up sometimes, especially around holidays or when I see happy families together. I'm finally feeling at peace with my decisions. My business is thriving under the new parent company, though I've stayed on as CEO of our division. I'm planning my first real vacation in years with my boyfriend, we're thinking Bali, and I'm finally learning to enjoy my success without feeling guilty about it. My grandmother has moved into a guest house on my property, her choice, as she says she's too independent for a retirement community but too old to deal with yard work. Having her close by has been amazing. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your messages and comments helped me stay strong when I was doubting myself. The Reddit community has been more of a family to me than my biological one ever was. And to anyone else dealing with toxic family members who try to steal your future, stand strong. Success is the best revenge, but healing is the best victory. Don't let anyone tell you that you owe your abusers forgiveness or support, no matter who they are. Build your own path, create your own success, and surround yourself with people who genuinely care about your well-being. Edit. Thanks for all the supportive comments and questions. To clarify the timeline, I spent a gap year working 3 jobs to save money, then completed my degree in 4 years while building my business. The acquisition happened right after graduation. Some people have asked why I didn't pursue legal action about the college fund. The account was in my parents' names, so technically what they did was legal, just morally wrong. But karma has a way of working things out in the end.